Welcome and welcome back to the Light Renegades. My name is Starr. Thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. To those that might be new, we are the Light Renegades. We are a collective of Pleiadian beings, bringing you information from the stratospheres that are ever expanding. We are disclosing cosmic secrets and hopefully bringing forward information that's going to allow for you to stand ever more in your sovereignty and in your power. That being said, if you are here for the first time, thank you and welcome. I would suggest sticking around for this message today because it's a pretty potent one. I found it incredibly eye-opening coming back to this message. I channeled it a couple of nights ago with Crow, with Alistair, and in that time I was just in the dark. I felt incredibly confused. I felt incredibly I guess unaware of how I was going to pull myself out of what I was feeling. I felt like I was just completely drowning in my spaces. It felt incredibly dense, and yeah, I felt like there was no way up is what I want to share. So if you're feeling in that space, I feel like this channeling is going to help you today. And apologies everyone, I've just stepped out of an energetic call with some really bright souls, so I'm feeling a lot of energy. There was a lot being brought forward to us as a collective, sending out unconditional love to our space, to the Gaia transformations and gateways, opening up portals to allow for more light to enter. We was clearing some spaces in the Vatican and allowing for more love and expression to be brought forward in our present given time. We was working with galactic teams, and there was just this notion of peace. Peace is with us, peace be with us, and peace for all time. And then I came back to this channeling and I thought, oh, this makes the most amount of sense. I wasn't really sure what was happening at the time of the channeling. It was quite an intense space to be in with Crow. I opened up the space and then I was just staring down the barrel of a gun. And I thought, oh my gosh, what is this? What is happening? And then it switched from the barrel of a gun to Crow pointing an arrow at me that was for an apple that was on the top of my head. And I thought, I'm not sure what is happening, and it wasn't until we got further down in the channeling that I completely understood what was going on. And I think that some of you are facing a space that perhaps you've never been in before, and I'm going to share a little bit more about that afterwards. I don't want to take away from today's channeling, but I think I'm in a space that I didn't expect myself to be in right now, is what I want to share. But this channeling, channeled a few days ago, was titled Free, and Crow started with, Dear Lightwalkers, this week's message, a reminder perhaps of all that you need to be aware of in your present times and spaces. I step forward with you all today with an understanding that many, I feel, will resonate. What is in heart? Are you listening? Are you living from a space of truth? I've been looking around of late, the collective flailing, as you scramble for all that you wish to hold on to. This is a message to say, surrender it all, let it all go. I step forward knowing that some in the collective are facing the deepest, most shadowy and darkest aspects yet. But this be your reminder. If I'm the darkest of dark, the beast 666, how can I be here with you all now? I step forward to help you understand that no one, nothing, isn't worthy of compassion or indeed redemption. Who do you need to forgive? Perhaps it's yourself first and foremost. What are you staring at right now? What is staring at you down the barrel? Little ones in light and truth, what is it that you are seeking? What is it that your heart yearns for? I think many have forgotten heart. This is a space to pause, to understand self a little deeper. Take a look around. What do you see? Look for the signs. Look for the lessons. What is it you need to feel in peace? I've been reminded of my pain, my torture, my torment. Believe me, I'm still paying penance for all that I created when I was incarnated, and this is as it should be. Universal law is real and true. Which side of the spectrum are you on right now? You have to be honest with yourself. What is it you need to release? An aspect of you, perhaps. Judgment for others, judgment for self, fear of letting go, fear of what's to come, listening to another's needs over your own. Is there room for compromise? Is it time for drastic change? Use this moon's magic to help you seal the deal on your brightest future yet. Forget the noise, forget that what you see outside of self, and turn within. I will keep saying this over and over until it sinks in. What is your heart telling you? Do you know your heart at all? Take time to pause and to go within wherever you receive this, whenever you receive this. I am here. You can call upon me at any time, and I will show you the truth. Perhaps not that which you wish to see, but the truth nonetheless. Are you living in an illusion? Is there a riddle to crack? Have you cracked open deep enough? I will be watching. I will be supporting. Nothing to fear, my dear souls, I promise you, nothing to fear. And I was having some time trying to get this channeling out for you all, and I think it's because there is great hesitancy in the collective to open up to a deeper state of love, a deeper state of surrender, a deeper state of, I want to say, opening self up to others. And I think for those that have been on this path for such a long time, we've just been met with, roadblock after roadblock. We've been met with, perhaps the shadow of others, the upset of others, us triggering those around us. And it can be a real dense space. I've definitely been dealing with a lot of, I guess, almost like PTSD somewhere to some degree, and an expression of, I'm not sure what to do when I don't resonate with what's around me. And I think many of you are in that space right now. And I really had to take a step back and come back into myself to understand that it doesn't matter what is around, because I get to be in my own vibration of love. And once I sit in my own vibration of love, that then ripples out into everything else. And I think at some point in this journey, I had forgotten that. I've forgotten to keep bringing in love at its deepest capacity. And I think I'd hit in a roadblock within my own personal journey, because I've been having to put the weight down. I've been having to put the fight down. And this is a surrender into a space that feels perhaps very challenging for some, because you've been having to fight, you've been having to claw your way tooth and nail to get to where you are, and then to say, stop, I think is quite a jarring experience. I think I'd hit a brick wall. I'd hit a space that I didn't know that I needed to, I don't want to say break through, because it's almost like I've just been absorbed into this funnel of love is what I want to share. And I was feeling the most amounts of fire yesterday, the most amounts of dragon energy step forward with this Aries super duper full moon, hunter's moon. And I was in spaces of, clearing a lot of sacrificial spaces. And there was just so much upset in those spaces. I think that I was transmuting that in my own physical vessel and remembering, the spaces that I cause harm in those areas too. And I think being upset and angry at self and having to forgive myself in those spaces as well. And the channeling from Crow, Alistair, made sense to me today, because I realized that I had the gun to my face, because Alistair wanted me to be honest with myself with what is it that I want. If I was staring down the barrel of a gun and it was going to be the end of my time, trigger warning, apologies here everyone, I'm really sorry to those that might trigger, but I feel like this expression has to come forward, because I feel like there is a space that we all need to surrender into it, and it's what is it that our heart is truly asking us, what is it that our heart wants. And I've been facing spaces where I realized that I was just picking up the energy of others, and it wasn't mine. Sometimes I think we forget that the things that we feel, the things that we experience isn't often always just our own energy. And I've really been having to stand stronger in my conviction of pulling all my energy back into myself, into my spaces, into my present given time, and this idea of the now being very true. And I feel like I've been lost in times and space, over and over again, with purpose in some aspects. But I think sometimes it's not helpful to not be in the present moment. So call yourself back into center, call yourself back into the present moment, and ask your heart what it wants. Ask yourself what it wants. And a practice that I've done now and again on my path is to look in the mirror and then to ask myself a question, because then you can't lie to yourself. Is what I want to share. And it's quite an eye-opening expression, I think, the first time that you do this, because you realize that sometimes what you want to be experiencing and feeling isn't in correlation with where you find yourself. And that can be heartbreaking. That can be, a space that you sink into a state of fear. But this is about surrendering and then trusting that you can have whatever it is in your heart, whatever is brought up to you in that space. And knowing that as long as you're being totally honest with yourself, then the rest of your world will ripple out as it's supposed to. And no matter what anyone else brings to your table, deceit, lies, treachery, what have you, whatever it is, as long as you are coming from a space of unconditional love, then everything will always work out for you in your favor. And I think this is to remind us that no matter what we are going through it to help our soul's evolution to somewhere. And if it's not our soul's evolution, then it's the soul of another. So can we really be upset at that? Can we really be sad at that if we know that we've had to step forward and we've helped another soul grow in their expression? There is a beauty to that cycle of life, that we all help each other, that we all come in and, play those roles to be the teachers to one another, and that can switch and change. And I think this is about understanding where you might find yourself right now. What is it you're surrendering into? What is it your heart is asking you? And where are you right now? What is it that is out of alignment? What is it that you need to let go of? What is it that you need to surrender to, perhaps to teams of light? And I think for the longest time, I've just been having to fend for self. I've not been used to having souls around me that can support me, that could support me at the deepest capacities that I feel it now. And this is, teams of light. This is those in my present given time that I know and I love and I trust deeply. So remember that you do have those looking out for you too. Sometimes it's okay to surrender that energy to them. And I think we're so used to leading, most of us here that are in this present given spaces community, because we've had to. But how can we lessen the burden by surrendering into love and letting this universal love lead and speak for itself? Let your heart do some of the work, everyone, is what I want to share. Put your hands down, put your fists down, put your weapons down. Send your heart into that space and then see what happens, is what I want to share. But that's all for myself today. Remember, you can call upon Crow Alistair at any point. He loves being in space with these souls here willing to witness him. And we've gone through a massive space of redemption with this soul. And I was very puzzled as to why I channeled Jeffrey Epstein, Jay over here, a very long time ago. It feels like now. And I didn't feel ready to be in that space, but I felt the most amount of compassion for that soul. And this is not, how do I want to word it? This is not bringing souls into a space of glorifying their actions. This is about allowing for a soul to know what they've done wrong and saying, I forgive you in that space, and apologies to whomever this triggers. But I think this is the deepest parts of compassion we are having to hit so that we can set ourselves free too. And I realized I was having to witness myself in shadow to then forgive myself, and then in turn forgive those around me at a deeper capacity. And now I'm learning to step forward with my heart instead of my weapons. And I think many of you in the collective are here. And when you're put into a state of survival, you become this ravaged animal. I feel like I've become a beast somewhere, the beast 666 somewhere. I felt like I was wanting to fight everything, everyone, and protect myself. It was protect. And I think I've been in that space for a very long time in my life. And now I'm having to surrender to what my heart is telling me, where my soul is guiding me, and allowing for that to be an even lighter space than I think I've perhaps ever reached before. And it feels incredibly foreign, is what I want to share right now. So please go easy, please go well, tender self-loving care, and fire ritual to those that are in ritualistic practices right now that might want to step forward into a deeper state of magic, of alchemy. At this point, write down all the things that you want to release and burn it under this Aries full moon, super full moon. And I was hearing, don't be dull. What is it that is going to light your fire? What is it that's going to light your spark? Have that be the state that your heart is ever rushing towards. What sets your soul on fire is what I want to share. So remember that it's up to you to decide what happens from here. And really do take that time to pause, everyone. I think we're at a very pivotal moment right now in Expanse, and it's about peace. So if you're not in a state of peace in spaces, how can you bring peace to that situation? And if it's not peace, how can you bring compassion for yourself and those that are in those spaces and perhaps more inclined in this fiery nature right now? How can we sink into a space of not being reactive, but and not being subservient either, but just holding a space of love and having strength in love? Yeah, that's what it is. It's a strength in love and not a strength in power over other. So remember that, everyone, in stepping forward, and have a beautiful weekend to those that are in real time. And I will be back next week, hopefully even lighter than you see me today. But I really felt this crunching energy, and I didn't know what was happening, and I didn't realize I was just having to crack open deeper to love. So I'm incredibly elated by this outcome. I perhaps thought it was going to be something incredibly different. So yeah, I'm excited for what the future holds, is what I want to share for all of us in this collective that are awake right now. I feel like there is exponential growth happening, and it's just time, everyone. That's just something that's happening behind the scenes. Just messages time after time. It's just time, it's just time, it's just time. But more peace above all else, more love above all else, unconditional love above all else. But that's all for myself and Crow today, and I'll be back real soon. Take care.